Max Holloway was talking a little Conor McGregor earlier today. And Max said Conor McGregor is on the UFC's short list of things for me to do. And it does feel like every time I hear a conversation about 155, I do hear isolated in talk the three athletes of Conor McGregor, Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier. I feel like I hear that a lot, and I've even been on other people's shows as a guest and had to correct them. Just that Max is a 45-pounder. Conor used to be, Dustin used to be, Max moved up to 50. They're not in the same weight class, but I have to remind people, and it does feel as though there's some real parity there in conjunction with what to do with Max. I'm not sold on the idea of Max waiting around to either fight Volkanovski a third time or to fight Ortega a second time. I'm not sold on that as the final idea. I suggested perhaps that Max would want to go into the position of backup fighter for the Poirier-Conor fight. That serves a few purposes. One is just a built-in motivation you go into training camp. Two is a possibility. Three, and moreover, it puts your name solidified in those talks if that is what, in fact, Max wants. Max may be going, Chael, what are you talking about? Yeah, I'll fight Volkanovski a third time, fight him a fourth time, and one after that. And the same thing goes with Ortega. Oh, okay. I'm attempting to guess. But I'm also attempting to guess, how would we get Max and Conor together? How would we get Max and Poirier together? And the first thing that has to be done is to win that conversation, because you've got five other guys that are also trying to make that same argument. And I feel as though inserting yourself and weighing in and getting on a scale and going out to Fight Island for a 155-pound bout doesn't create anything negative. And Max has had a very active and busy schedule, particularly as a champion. It was just unbelievable how many times he was fighting, how quick he was fighting, how often he was fighting, how many rounds he was fighting. I mean, he got in more work than anybody. So even of the vein of, hey, give Max a break. I agree with you on that. But Max going into a training camp, not having to pull an extra 10 pounds off is going to be a lot less on his body. It may be it's a suggestion. That's all I'm looking to do, is to make a suggestion. But if I don't make that suggestion, or if that talk doesn't come into it, then I'm very light on the idea that we're ever going to see Max in there with Poirier or Conor again. I don't believe that Conor has a whole bunch of fights left. I would be stunned if from the moment you're hearing this word to the end of Conor's career, he has 5. That would stun me. And I think you're closer to 3 than you are 5. Speaking of Conor, I do know this to be true from inside information that Conor and Pacquiao were in talks. In fact, they were even in talks for August. Poirier interrupted that and stopped those talks, and now they appear to be back on. The only reason I'm light on that idea is, if Conor's going to go over to boxing, whose bad idea was it to bring in Pacquiao? If Conor is going to go into boxing, and Floyd is willing to do it, and I assure you he is, the only thing in sport more embellished than the pay-per-view buys of Floyd versus Conor is Floyd's net worth. That's the only thing more fiction than the make-believe pay-per-view buy numbers. Floyd will do the fight. And if you have your option of Floyd or Manny, you take Floyd, particularly when the only commodity that Conor brings to the table is his ability to get you interested in it. It isn't all of his gold medals, world championships, and victories within the sweet science. It's his ability to get you interested. If there's anything that Manny Pacquiao does not bring to the table, it's that. Those are not good partners for each other, unless they have vastly different goals, which are vastly more realistic goals, and you're looking at doing about a $10 million day as opposed to closer to a 50 to 60 million. You'll be surprised how many dum-dums in boxing are willing to lose money to make sure those two guys have a guarantee of 50 to 60 million. And they will lose money. Conor and Floyd are not going to bring that in, but Conor and Pacquiao aren't going to bring anything close to that in. By the way, I'm not a hater. I'll watch the match. But I'm speaking to what we had when we had Conor and Floyd, guys. We had something very, very interesting there. Something that was very rare. They sold out an arena in LA in the summer on a Tuesday. to watch a press conference. They went to 4 venues in total in 3 different countries on 2 different continents. They sold them all out. I mean, there was just something special there. You have fight fans everywhere coming in on a hot summer day where there's plenty of options to do, coming together to watch 2 fighters with no chance of a fight breaking out because it was interesting and it was compelling. And you know what? It was great. Those press conferences were awesome and they were entertaining. And there was attention on the stage. And we were armed with the information that Floyd had written in the contract. If Conor McGregor touches me, this whole deal's off, which is why Dana White was up there as a buffer to make sure that insurance of the contract came through and we got to see that match. But that still created something for the fan, right? For the viewer, we're still going, well, does Conor care? Is Conor going to break this deal? Are these two going to get into it? Right? It was exciting. It was fun. And it's what made that night work. And we just don't have that with Pacquiao. So now we're attempting to duplicate something with a much less draw. Interesting match, though. The X's and O's of that, interesting. Interesting actual match. But what do we know about boxing? The match is the least entertaining part. The worst part of a boxing card is when them 2 boys are in there boxing. It's just like pro wrestling. The worst part of is when the match is going on. The fun is everything around it. So I only bring that to you because I'm light on the idea that Conor would box Pacquiao. Even though they're in talks, I'm light on that idea. If Conor's going to go box, then you box who you can make the most money with because it's about money anyway, and Floyd is willing to do it.